Welcome to Candid Conversations with Dr. Kelli, where we dive deep into the conversations that matter most to your mind, body, and soul. I'm your host, Dr. Kelli Utenham, a passionate advocate for brain health and wellness. And here on this podcast, we explore candid conversations about life, health, and the stories that shape us. Whether it's about mental health, sports, or simply navigating everyday challenges, we keep it real, raw, and relevant. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations with Dr. Kelli. I am over the moon for the guest that we have today. This is a connection that I made through another friend and colleague of mine, Matthew Gibson. Please welcome Chauncy Haney. Hi.
How you all doing?
Hi, Chauncey. How are you?
Doing good, excited.
Good. I'm excited to have you on. But I am going to let him tell you more about himself. So, Chauncey, will you please let the listeners know about you, who you are, and your journey?
Oh yeah. So as you say, I'm Chauncey, retired athlete. The majority of my professional tenure was in the spring league. So I started in the spring league, right after COVID, and then I went to the USFL, and then I went to the UFL for a year. And then that was my professional career. Played ball all the way up until then, and then throughout that is where I kind of started my yoga journey and like my mindfulness journey. Started with the memoir, then a book, and then it started went to the LLC. Now it's a business, and now it's a full-fledged wellness business that focuses on the mental, physical, and emotional well-being of everybody. And then by career, by trade, now I work in the HVAC field. Hopefully not too much longer, because as you'll hear throughout the conversation, my love for people and guiding people and experiences of life, to help them guide them through their journey is really my passion. So hopefully we'll step into that light a lot sooner than later.
Of course we will. Okay, well, can you take us back to the very beginning? What started you on your road to sports?
Oh yeah. Um, so I've always been athletic or like active as any kid would be, well, at least any kid in the 90s when people would kick you out the
Yeah,
house.
clarify.
Yeah. I wasn't a tablet baby. So but ironically, I didn't really play much organized sports growing up until my ninth grade year in high school. So that was the first time, or my eighth grade year a little bit. But ninth grade was the first time I actually was on a organized team as far as basketball, football. I played baseball growing up, but ninth grade year I was playing football and basketball at Dutch Fork High School, one of the greatest high schools in South Carolina. And we just got a new head coach. I think he was there for about a year or two. His name's Tom Knotts, great coach. And he wanted to move the position that I was currently playing at safety to defensive end to kind of mirror a fellow athlete we had on the team that went on to play college ball. And at the time, I wouldn't say I was a know-it-all, because I never came off as like a know-it-all student or kid, but I think I was stubborn in what I thought I was. So when he wanted to move my positions, I said no. And well, I didn't really say no. I just kind of quit. Like I didn't disrespect him or say no or anything, but I quit the team. And I went on to play basketball because I was still playing basketball at the time. Had a pretty good season my freshman year on the B team. And my brother, my oldest brother at the time, not at the time, but he had graduated from another school where we once lived in Columbia, called Keenan High School, and they're known for basketball. They have like top three state titles in like the whole South Carolina. So knowing that I just quit football, I want to focus on basketball. Why not transfer and go to a school that focuses on basketball? So that's what I did. Transferred to Keenan High School. Only played basketball for like my first like 3 months, and then at that time I was like 6'3", skinny, tall, lanky kid. Um, we went. It was a coach by the name of Savell Newton. He was an old USC quarterback. He walked up to me. He's real country. He was like, "Can you catch?" I said, yeah. Can you run? I was like, yeah. All right, well, come out to the football field tomorrow. You playing football? I was like, ah. So Keenan is a Title I school, really small school. So like our graduating class is like less than 200. So like they need numbers, especially on the football team, right? You need 22 players minimum, right? So we would that year, thankfully, it was a bigger year. So we had like 40, 50 kids, but not a lot of kids coming from Dutch Fork, where you got in the whole program, you got over like 150 kids. So they needed football players. So ironically, I went back to playing football. I thought I quit to only play basketball and chance to only play basketball, but I ended up playing football too. So that's kind of how that started. And then I went on to play, football and basketball and track, and that's really about it. I did shot put a little bit, but football, basketball, and track was really the main things. I was a jumper in track, and then in basketball, obviously at 6'4" in high school, like I was like a power forward center type. We were a small team. And then from there, yeah, I went on to play sports and jeez. I'm sorry, the phone kept going off. I went on to play sports throughout all of high school, won a state championship, went to another one.
In
And then
what?
so I won a state championship in basketball. And then which right, thankfully I went for basketball. I won a state championship basketball. And then I went to we went to state my junior year. So the same year actually. So I went to state first in football and lost. And then I ended up going to state in basketball and then we won. So a couple of the players from football team came over to basketball. So it was like we knew what it needed to take to win, like really discipline, commitment, like all the way bought in. And then we were able to carry it over. I like to think we're a vital part of. So most of the football players that came over weren't the real good basketball players. But what we brought was like grit, defense, and like hustle. So I like to think that was a big like major factor into like winning that state championship that year. Obviously, we weren't the points, so we weren't the ones scoring the ball. Like we weren't the ones putting all the points and making all the cool plays. But like we gave that team like a lot of grit, defense, and like just hustle and like just head down work mentality.
And you said discipline. I mean, you have to be disciplined to
Yeah,
play almost every sport throughout
yeah.
high school.
Discipline or board, one of the
I'm
two. One of the two.
gonna go with
Yeah,
discipline.
discipline, discipline.
I may be biased. I was a track runner as well.
Okay,
I
yeah.
did a couple of field events. I too was a jumper. Which jumping did you do?
So I did all three. So I long jump, high jump, and triple jumped.
Well,
I
there's four. Don't forget pole vault.
Okay, well, I did not do all three. So we didn't. I think my senior year is the first time we actually had a pole vaulter. Once again, we're a small school, so like resources are scarce. So how many pole vaulters do we have? Okay, we're not investing in pole vaulting mats and poles. We're not gonna do that. But I think my senior year we did attempt one. And you gotta
Did
have
you ever
somebody who's
try?
not scared of no, because at that point I was like 180, 6'4". So like I probably could have, and you got to have somebody who actually also doesn't have the fear of being in the air that long.
Very true, which is why there's not a ton
Yeah.
of
Mm-mm.
black people
Yeah. No, wouldn't not
that
for
do it.
me.
I did long jump, triple jump, high jump. I did pole vault for a little
Mhm.
bit. And it's so funny because my my coach was like, we don't hang around the pole vault very long, so we'll just give it a try. It didn't
See if it
last.
works. Yeah, no.
It didn't last.
Mm-mm.
Just a
And then
bit
I
much. I
ran.
mean,
That was
it's
fun.
a pole that's casting you several feet into the air
If you're
to
good enough. Yeah.
catapult you over another pole and free fall down.
Yeah. Mm-mm. And then the mat's not that big either. Like
Not that,
for what
not,
we're doing, if you describe it, the mat could be about 10 feet wider on all sides.
yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe a little higher up so it's not so far of a fall.
Yeah. Because once we
Yeah,
get up, that's the record right there. Getting above the pole is a record. So like we don't have to
exactly.
fall so far, like so far
Exactly.
down.
Like raise the mat as we keep going.
Mm,
Like,
something. Mhm.
yeah, so that I didn't stick with that for long. But did you do any running events?
Yeah, so I did the open four by four, and 4x8 and open eight.
Ooh.
4x4 was the funnest. At the time I was not a runner, so the 4x8 was definitely a drag. But I think the 4x4 was like my funnest. And I cracked 50 once. I do say that. I'm proud of that. It was in the 4x4. So I cracked, it was like 49.98 or 49.97.
Ew.
But I cracked it. So I
That's
was
huge.
once, very once.
I know. Four by one, I I enjoyed 4x1.
Okay, yeah. I was too slow for that one.
4x4, 4x8. just no thank you.
Oh,
No
for it's
thank.
fun. I wish I would have ran the because I was long, so I think I wasn't that fast. But because I was long and I had power, I think I would have been good at the 200. And I never ran it, right? Because we got a lot of fast kids, so it's like we didn't need you for that. Like we got a lot of kids wanting to do the two and the one, so that we didn't need me for that. But I think I might have been good at that one.
All right, 6'4". What
Yeah.
about the hurdles?
Nope. So we had a guy for
No.
hurdles, and he did the hurdles. I was just not. I just there was the hurdles didn't appeal to me, and at that time I was already doing the two relays and two opens and three jumps.
Didn't want to
Just-
add the
yeah, just
I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
you.
I did the hurdles once because we needed points. So he just threw me in there for like a region meet or whatever. Yeah, nah. Like I never practiced. Like at the meet, he was like he set up some hurdles on the side one and like just run through two to see how it looks. And yeah, like the first two, I probably did it the way you were supposed to do it. Probably didn't look good, but I did that way. And then the last six or how many ever it is, I was just getting over them.
Could the hurdles like get high enough for you? I just imagine you like them tripping up and you like, "Oh, my ankle."
Yeah.
Like
And
it's
as a kid, I'm a lot better at this now. But as a kid, and I wasn't the best with my dexterity, so I was very clumsy. I had big feet, I was like 6'4", 185, skinny, and then like wore a size 14 shoe. So like my arms are long, my hands are big, but like I don't know what I'm doing with it's just limbs everywhere. I just don't know what to do with them. So I was definitely more on the clumsier side. Um
I
in my
cannot
younger age.
imagine that, but that is because I have seen you in your
Now,
yogi space. We'll get to that. Um, so I really want to talk about, well, I mean, all of these sports that you've done. This is amazing. All of these sports, have you experienced any kind of concussion?
yeah.
Can you
Yeah, so
talk
we
about
got
that?
we got some concussions recorded, right? And I will say that I think as a football player, right, and probably a lot of other sports too. Like I feel like some other sports go unnoticed as well, but just because they aren't as common, especially like basketball. If you hit the hardwood, or maybe if you get an elbow in the head, those may never be recorded. You just I'll keep it moving. But football for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if I got a concussion every time I played because I played defensive lineman. So I'm in a car wreck every time anyway. So I'm just hitting. And obviously young defensive linemen don't know how to use their hands. So once you get up in college and pros, they preach your hand usage. Like extend, keep your head out of it. But a young one, you just kind of for a young one, you just kind of ran, you just go head first sometimes. So I'm sure I got some concussions that way, but some of the recorded concussions I've had, I would say, let's see, really only one that's like recorded that actually put me out. Because every other
Wow.
thing, I was almost like a hard nose. So like, yeah, I wasn't coming out the game unless I had to. Um,
But were they, did you get like trained up to be that way, or was that just in you?
in in me, because it's just like I can affect the game better than anybody else, whether true or not. That it's subjective, but that's my opinion. I was like, no, I want to be in the game, especially so it was trained and that's my mindset already. So coming in as a freshman, right? So my freshman year, I came in. First of all, I was like half scholarship. Like I was last minute. Did they want me for real? No. But then I
Is
got
this
there.
university level?
Yeah, North Greenville. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Okay.
so it's Division II school in the Gulf South Conference. So pretty good conference. At the time, they were independent, but pretty good
Can you
conference.
tell our listeners the difference between a D1, D2, etc.?
Is so NCAA has levels. Like I don't know how big of a difference or how deep to go into the difference, but Division 1 are the schools, basically the schools you know. So like the USC's, the SEC, Big 12, ACC, like big conferences and the schools you know. That's usually what I say. Any school that you know, or like if you play the video game NCAA, all the schools on there, they're Division 1. Division 2 is where you get to your local more. They're not local schools, they're not community college or anything, but like your schools like Wingate, right? Your Lenore Rhines, I don't know, Limestones, Newberries. So a little bit of your smaller schools, and really, it matters is the school size for the most part. I think that's one of the biggest
Okay.
things as far as division wise. It's the school size and then like equipment size from there, and then goes up from there. But naturally, based on that, you get quote unquote lesser talent when you go down. So athletic wise, the division ones are the better players. Division twos are slightly better players. Division three are the last, right? Subjectively,
Okay.
obviously, right? Because there's players that make it from all types of these levels, right? And then you got NAIA, which is completely different from NCAA, and they still kind of categorize them as like the lesser, subjectively, once again, as far as skill set. Yeah, so I went Division two, and specifically to me, I went there. So I had Division one. I didn't have technically offers, right? Because for me, it was my grades. So I was the kid that he's so smart. He talks a lot, but he's so smart, and he just doesn't apply himself. So that
I
was
was gonna
me,
say,
right?
did you get the doesn't apply himself comment? Okay.
So that was me, right? So I didn't,
Stay in school, pay attention, kids.
and within all honesty, not to get too deep into this subject, but I went to a Title One school, and so my mom is a college graduate, but she went all her degrees are from online. So very proud of that. She has multiple degrees and they're all online. But going to the school I went to, one of my life catchphrases I always say is exposure equals expansion. I tell
Say it
people to
again.
this day,
Expose.
exposure equals expansion.
Oh, exposure equals expansion. I like that.
Yeah. So I tell people to this day, there was I don't remember a time in high school until I got my first letter, the end of my junior year, where I even thought about life outside of high school. For example, when we had career days, instead of like all these universities coming by and you have all these tables set up, we would get Millens Tech, which is the local technical school. We get USC because they're in Columbia, and then we'd get military in all the different branches. We didn't get all these colleges coming, right? We were a small school, so a lot of athletes weren't coming out of high school going to college, right? We're Title One in the middle of communities, Title One communities, right? There was no real exposure of any. Like I didn't think about what happens after high school. I didn't know I can play football. I didn't know about these things, and I tell people all the time that these thoughts never really occurred to me until like I was playing ball, and then the end of my junior year, I got my first letter from a school, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's more. Idiot, like there's more after this, right? Life goes on, right? And that was at that time, right? So, with that being said, not an excuse, but there was no reason for me to apply myself. I knew I was gonna graduate, right? So I was making passing grades, right? But low passing grades, low
You're
passing grades.
doing enough to get
We're
by.
doing enough to get by because what are we? Why do I have to do better? Almost right, and that's where the he's smart but doesn't apply itself come into the fact. So with that, right, and I take full accountability and very much aware of the decisions I made throughout high school in order to not get the grades I needed to get. So when the junior year comes and the senior year comes and schools are coming to me like, hey, you're not great. Because by all means, was I like this stellar athlete? I was never, so I won like, high school, individual school awards. But as far as like state and local awards, I didn't win many of those. Right. So by all means, was I a great athlete. But I was 6'4" and raw. In athletic terms, when someone says you're raw, that means you have a lot of athletic ability, but you haven't been taught much. And that was the truth. So that means your potential is very high. So a lot of schools did start to look at me, and then they look at the transcript script, and it was like, it's not much we can do. So I did have a few schools like SMU, South Carolina State, that were like looking at me and was like, oh, what can we do here? How can we do this? Right? Because they do look out for athletes, obviously, right, and see where there's ways we can kind of get you in. And but that's just how bad like my grade. Like there was no. For me, I wasn't NCAA eligible. So it wasn't even the fact that I couldn't get into the school. NCAA has different eligibility criteria for Division One, Division Two, and Division Three schools as far as
Wow.
athletics. So it wasn't even the schools that I couldn't get in. It was the NCAA
Was it
governing body.
specifically like your GPA?
Yeah, so GPA, and then so it was GPA, and then your test scores like it'd be like a balancing system, and then neither was like the GPA was low, then the test scores are average, so everything was just average.
What
So it
kind of
wasn't
test scores?
ACT and SAT.
Got
So
it.
like those scores back in the I don't think they even do those anymore now, but back then they did those standardized tests.
That's a good question.
Because I
Listeners
know COVID
who
they
have
stopped it.
high
I
school
know
age
in COVID they
children,
didn't do those anymore.
do they still do the ACT or SAT? Inquiring minds want to know. But speaking of listeners and them having children, this is like a really great story to share to young people, because I'm sure young people, particularly young people today, no shade, I think that they very much have the mindset of, yeah, yeah, whatever regarding the future. Not all, some.
Yeah.
And what would you like? What would have put some sense into your head or given you a wake up call? I know you said you didn't have the exposure per
Yeah.
se, but what would have inspired you or motivated you to take your grades more seriously and apply yourself?
Um, so once again, I try the best to not push blame on anybody else. But then for the sake of this example, obviously Title I schools, you can ask for resources all you want, but we've been asking forever, so resources are going to be scarce. But for me, it would be like seeing, right? So once again, the exposure part. If I were to see maybe some of my peers get scholarship offers, or like get have schools come talk to them, or like just see these things. For example, I don't regret anything in life, but at Dutch Fork, a lot more kids went to school for sports. So possibly there, my grades may have been better because I would have seen it more, right? So, or maybe if my coaches would have talked about it more, because once again, our coaches know many colleges aren't coming here to see us. So some of our coaches, great coaches, no hit to the coaches, but are more focused on high school accolades and less of getting kids to college. And not that they weren't focused on that, but they know the hill to climb is a lot higher because it's a Title I school, don't have a lot of athletes. A lot of our kids don't have the grades. Whose fault is that? I mean, the kids. And, if we have reasons, obviously, like, not to excuse kids not applying themselves, but we're human. Giving someone a reason, giving someone a purpose to do something will motivate them, right? So I think just have like being more exposed, and it doesn't have to be 100 schools coming to career day because that's something that may not have been in our control. But if we would have known more about college visits, like I didn't take a college visit until the end of my until I got an offer from Lincoln in Pennsylvania. Like I went to two college summer workouts. Like so during the summer, a lot of colleges like their football teams or their programs, they have a lot of like open workouts where you go and you work out at the school. I only went to two of those because I didn't know about those until my senior summer. So like if just knowing about a lot of these things would have opened my eyes up to what was possible. And then that's where you take it back to individual student. Like, because at the end of the day, you have to do the work yourself. But if I would have known what work, like why I would be doing this work, I might have done better work, right?
Yeah,
And like I said,
I like that.
I still take full accountability for everything I've done, right? It's no one's fault but my own. Because at the end of the day, you don't need a reason to do what you're supposed to do. You should just
So,
do it.
I mean, but
But
like
it
you said, we
helps.
are human.
Yeah, it helps.
Sometimes you do need a reason, but I
Yeah.
do like that exposure and expansion um, mindset. So I have something similar to that. I'm a visual learner, so I do more visual things. But I like to tell people like envision a peephole through a
Mhm.
door. Like you can go to the door and you can look out the peephole and you can see only what's within that scope of that tiny little circle.
Mhm.
But if you were to expand that peephole and stick your head out of
Mhm.
it, you could see so much more. Like, oh, you can see
Exactly.
up the street, and oh, my neighbor has, a flag that's hanging, and oh, they have a red car, and oh, if I look over
Yeah.
here, this house over here has a dog, and
Yeah.
you could not see any of that if you're just looking
Through the
from
people.
that one peephole without expanding it so that you
Yeah.
could poke your head out and look outside. So I
Exactly.
think that's a really good mindset to have with
And
expansion.
to even expand that more, yeah, you can get a bigger peephole, but what if someone gave you some of the keys to open the door?
I like
How much
that.
more would you be able to see? You
Yeah, then
know?
you can be outside completely.
Exactly. So it's like, although accountability is very huge, resources and guiding hands will take a lot of people a lot further.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. So, would resources, swinging it on back to concussion, would would resources have helped? Because you said you felt like likely or you could have experienced concussions
Mhm.
every time that you were on the field.
Yeah.
Did your coaches, your schools, did they provide you with education on the risk of concussion in any of the sports that you played?
Um, Transparently, right? Because that's what we're here to do. Being at a Division II school, we have our mandated meetings at the beginning. of like all sports. Like you have your mandated meetings where your athletic trainer, they come and talk to you about all the risk, all the things like that. And then after that, it's you typically it until you yourself experience something, right? And then you go up to a trainer and like, hey, I may have had this, and then she goes further than there, or especially on the football field, if she sees a big hit. So like our trainer specifically, she Miss Dawn, like she would, if she saw something, she wouldn't pull you out the game immediately unless it was really bad, right? She wouldn't pull you out the game immediately, but the moment that plays over or like you're to the she's coming to you, it's like, hey, seriously, talk to me, because she cared about us. So right, so she it never works. So like, especially for people like me, when like an athletic trainer comes to me, like, be honest with me, I'm not, ma'am. I'm
It
sorry,
never works. Listen to this, listeners. It
but
never works.
I'm not
Real
gonna say
quick,
never.
well, more times than not, it
Yeah,
sounds like.
yeah.
So I asked about, education and awareness for your sports. You jumped all the way to college. Are you saying
Oh
in
well.
middle school and high school that there wasn't a lot of education given?
So yeah, middle school definitely not. High school,
You played a lot of sports.
yeah. Honestly, yeah, no. Once
Wow,
again, our
okay.
trainer, probably the first day, and this was even a lot more lax. Another thing is we have like, because we're Title One school, we couldn't afford an athletic trainer. So what we would do is we would get like USC, they're like juniors and seniors. They would get like, that's like their internship.
Oh, so you would get
Yeah.
students who would come and
Yeah,
kind of
we would
help
get
out.
students, and then we would have a doctor. So like we would get like, they would have like a not a chaperone, but like a supervisor. So like it would be two, but yeah,
For
I
your
think,
games, like the actual sporting events.
yeah, like we'd get a doctor for the games, and then we'd get like, yeah, like a fifth year student. Like it was always like, man, I don't think it was like a 21-year-old junior, but like I don't, but like yeah,
Probably
I don't
like a
know.
residency or
Yeah,
internship,
something
like you
like
said,
that.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Okay. All
something like
right.
that. But that's who we would get. So with that, we would get a new trainer almost every year. Like I think I had one trainer for 2 years and then another like two more trainers for the next 2 years.
That's
So
interesting.
like, they have their meeting. We have a meeting on the field. Hey, all, my name is so and so. If you have any injuries, da, 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 come see me. I'm here.
Hey, for all of my speech therapists and other healthcare providers, let's be honest, writing soap notes can be time consuming and exhausting. But with Freed AI Scribe, documentation just got a whole lot easier. Here's how it works. Freed AI uses artificial intelligence to record your sessions and instantly generate accurate professional soap notes. That means more time to focus on your clients and less time stuck doing paperwork. Freed AI is HIPAA compliant, which made it easy to incorporate into my private practice. And it has been a game changer. It saves me time, reduces stress, and best of all, helped me finally get out of the office at a decent hour. If you're ready to simplify your documentation, use my code Dr. Kelli50 for $50 off your first month's subscription. And join me and other SLPs who've made the switch to simplify your soap notes. The link and discount code are in the show notes. Now, back to the episode. Wow. So for me on my end, that makes me think that means that the interns didn't know y'all. Like they
Yeah,
didn't
no,
know
no,
like,
no
oh,
part.
you had a concussion last,
Oh yeah,
season,
no.
or you had this issue, so this is what I need to keep an eye out for. They're all coming in green every year.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if the paperwork wasn't even like up to, and I
Mhm.
do remember like some people having serious or like serious concussions or serious, and like they would know them, but like unless it was something, so I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt. I think if there was actually someone, and this is the thing, if someone actually admitted or came to them about a concussion, they would know about them. But once again, if we don't necessarily know what that headache is, we're not necessarily coming to you because we're a
Mhm.
small school with 40 kids. Everybody's playing both
And
ways.
and
So
if you haven't been educated about the risks substantially or adequately, you don't
that too.
know to, report like, man, like this headache just won't go away. I mean, I've spoken with young athletes who have said they don't believe in concussion, that, they just pop some Advil or whatever they can get their hands on and they're just good to go. So let's swing it on back to, you mentioned the athletic trainer said, seriously, tell me how
Yeah.
you are. And you said,
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell the truth.
So I mean, that was with other injuries for the most part. Like I'd never like I unless you saw me physically limping, but there was one instance where I had a concussion.
What
And
was
so
the
I'll
play
run
or the hit?
yeah, I'll run you down and I have the video I can send it to you. I'll run down this whole scenario. So we're at Lenore Ryan. So this is my sophomore year at Lenore Ryan. It's our like second game of the season. I'm getting a lot of reps. So I'm super excited because I may be able to get the starting spot. I go off the ball to make a tackle. So I go off. I'm defense line, so I'm going towards the offense. Going towards the offense. They pass the ball. So now I'm running. So now I'm running from behind, right? So I'm running from behind to tackle him from behind because he's ahead of me. I go to tackle him. So he's coming down to the ground. I have a safety. I love him to death, but I hate him. I have a safety, and he comes torpedoing in on the tackle. So I'm down on the ground. He comes torpedoing in on the tackle like straight here. To my knowledge, I rolled over and I was just like, ow, that hurt. To everybody else's knowledge, and I deny this to the day, I passed out, right? And my athletic trainer's on the field. And I remember getting hit, rolling over. She's there and she's like, squeeze my hand. And I'm like, are you okay? And I'm talking, I'm good. My eyes are closed because I'm just in pain. Obviously, at the time, didn't know the verbiage, but I'm sensitive to light. Like, so I'm like this, and my shoulders numb. So I'm like shaking, but it's all voluntarily. But they're a little dramatic. But so it's all voluntary. So my arms like just shaking because it's like I don't want my arm to go numb, whatever. So I'm just there. She's squeezing me, and I think this is over exaggeration. But they get the golf cart, they put me on the golf cart, they wheel me all the way up, and then we go to the gym. And this is like right before halftime or something. So I'm in the gym. I'm on the golf cart. This is all still voluntary, but I'm shaking my right arm. It's all voluntary. I swear to you. I'm shaking my right arm, shaking my right arm. She's like, "No, something's wrong with you. What's wrong with you?" I'm talking. I don't like trainers. I love trainers, and I want to be on the field. So like, I'm okay. I'm okay. My eyes are closed because once again, I'm sensitive light, and I'm not. I'm not necessarily knowing that. I'm just in my head. I just want to keep my eyes closed. So my arm is still shaking voluntarily, and then they end up calling the ambulance, and then we end up going to the hospital. They check me out and whatever. They put me in a neck brace because they think I may have a neck injury or something. And then this is where the resources come in, where it's D1 and D2. So they give me in the hospital. I think I only got X-rays. I don't think I did an MRI because we're in Lennar Ron. In D2, we bus everywhere. The athletic trainer drives though. So the team goes. I can't remember if they won or lost. The team goes on. They won. So the team goes on. I'm in the car with the athletic trainer, so I'm in a neck brace. We're driving back to school. She's like, "Hey, we definitely got a concussion, right? So go, don't leave your room, lights off. We'll figure this out in the morning. Like we'll
What did the doctors tell you?
can't remember. Not gonna lie, can't necessarily remember. At in the LR. Now this is where the resource come in play. I get home, and for 2 weeks, and this would never happen at Division One school. For
Home to
two
your
weeks,
dorm or home
dorm,
to
yeah, I get to my dorm, so we drive back to campus. For 2 weeks, I'm out of practice, I'm out of meetings, I'm out of all those things. I'm going to class. Well, maybe not right away. So like first 2 3 days, maybe not going to class, but right after I'm going to class, still have this neck brace on with only an X-ray for 2 weeks, going to class. Going to like the athletic training room, she's checking on me, doing the concussion test. So she's doing all those things, concussion test, made what I'm saying, still not taking the brace off because I don't have an MRI.
Do you remember the test?
What do you mean?
Like, was it an impact test, a scat test, or
It
she
was
was
all
just
of those,
okay.
all the tests as far as concussion wise. But I'm waiting on an X-ray or MRI because we have the concussion. We got that. You were knocked out in their mind. I wasn't knocked out. But
You said you never admitted, but go ahead.
now they're in fear of a neck injury. So for 2 weeks, but this is the thing: for 2 weeks, I go without an X-ray or MRI.
Just
Just
moving and doing
well, I have
like
the neck brace on, but
well,
everything
yeah,
else
but
is that's it. And it's a hard shell neck, but for 2 weeks, none of that.
But
just
you're
to go.
still doing ADLs. For listeners who aren't familiar, ADLs are activities of daily living. So you're
Yes.
still bathing yourself and
Mhm.
making yourself food and getting up and sitting down. You're just in this neck brace.
Yeah. So I'm going to
Wow.
class. Right after class, don't go to practice, don't go to nothing. Get your to go box for lunch, and then go back to the dark room. Right, for 2 weeks. I finally get an X-ray and MRI, and this is what upsets me. And this is where resources are scarce the lower level you go, and even at some Division 1 schools like HBCUs and stuff like that. There's no way I should have went 2 weeks without an MRI or X-ray, and I had nothing wrong with my neck. So now taking the neck brace off, something's wrong with my neck because I'm stiff for 2 whole weeks, and nothing real was wrong with it. But there's just a major crick in your neck, like it's just pain because for 2 weeks I'm here stuck, and that's where I feel like yeah, like the resources is just very scarce and scarce. And it was like, first of all, with a major neck injury, why are you waiting 2 weeks anyway? Whatever level you're at, you should. But granted, Division 1 schools, they have doctors, they have X-ray machines, they have MRIs at their campus and stuff like that. But like just back to the concussion, it was that was hard to deal with as well, like mentally and emotionally, and then also just like the pain, it would vary. But I don't think headaches was my biggest. I think it was really just a lot of the sensitivity to light. Um, and even to this day, like bright, super bright lights, immediate impact of bright lights, not necessarily pain, but it's like an irritation, and then it fades very quick. But not because it really isn't a pain, but it is like, oh, you got to blink a couple times. Um,
Giving them a look, listeners, like, are you sure you're just not admitting pain? Okay. So
no, no,
it's a
no, it's no
disturbance to
pain. Yeah,
comfort.
yeah, definitely disturbance of comfort. But yeah, so it was like, and honestly, I don't think I had time to think about the concussion throughout that process because I have this neck brace on. But had that on for about 2 weeks, and then I missed another like 2.5 weeks with it off. Um, maybe not 2.5, about another 2 weeks with it off of just like massages,
Yeah,
fatigue,
what
and
was rehab
concussion.
like? Did your athletic trainer or the AT help you?
Yeah, so we did like gentle like neck movements, like all type of neck movements, like massages. I don't think we scraped because it wasn't a cartilage nut, so there's no need to scrape.
Can you
We
tell listeners what scraping is?
So scraping is like it's a metal device. It looks like a boomerang, very small boomerang, I guess, kind of. Or they can have different shapes, but it's usually a metal device, and typically is to break up cartilage. So like if you have surgery or like a big bruise, like a contusion. There we go. So like a contusion or a big bruise, which is basically just I don't know what it is, like your blood or something hardening within the body, like your muscles or something hardening within the body in between the skin and the muscle. And they would scrape it, which is basically is what it sounds like. They're scraping it to kind of break up that cartilage so it can heal better. So I don't think we scraped my neck because it wouldn't have been, or we might have actually, because within the neck brace it could have built some cartilage up in there. So we would do like scraping. Obviously we're still doing the concussion test, and that was like 7 years ago. So I don't know all of what those tests consisted of, but it was a lot of like computer tests. Not at first, because obviously sensitivity to light, but I do remember us laughing at that. Like this is where the concussion tests are. Like this is where they live. How some of them live. They live on computers. Like how you do some of the memorization stuff and all that, and very contradicting because we're sensitive light. Why are we looking at computers? But some of the tests were on there. And then obviously like the months, the years, the dates, the alphabets, the all those different things. And then after that, I think it's really just scale questions. There's like a lot of scale questions, like on a scale of 1 to 5. What's your sensitivity? What's your headache? What's your
Uh,
like all those different type of questions.
okay.
Yeah, but
Likert scale type stuff. Did they pay any attention to like your schooling afterwards, or did they notify your professors?
So yeah, all the professors knew, and I don't think that did. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they like paid attention. Or
Did
once
you feel like anything was going on with your brain? Like things were a little harder to remember or concentrating in class was more difficult? Anything like that?
at this point, I can't really remember.
Okay.
Um, my school, because college is like you're in your major, right? This is my sophomore year, so like I'm kind of interested in some of these things.
What was your major?
Criminal justice and psychology.
Okay.
Um, so I think. I probably could have missed some assignments or like just like forgot some things, but um yeah, definitely probably focus and a little bit of agitation just because I'm like I'm in a neck brace. I don't want to be in a neck brace.
Well, that is something that I
There's a lot of
haven't.
denial, I'll say.
Okay, wait, you said you feel like you are
No, I said I think there was a lot of denial.
on your part or the
Yeah, on my part.
schools?
Cause like no, like this isn't real. I'm not in a neck brace or like I'm okay now. Like there definitely after like the first week, there definitely was a moments of like I'm okay now. Like let me go.
Wanting to get back out before you
Yeah,
were done with the healing.
yeah, like I'm okay.
Okay.
Let me go. But yeah,
So that's huge
I was
because
in school.
I really enjoy when athletes are on because you get to speak to the athletes who are listening
Hmm.
and just hearing the mindset of shove it down, I'm fine, I don't need this neck brace, like put me back out there, coach. Like that's real stuff. That's real thought process for how athletes think. And what would you have needed to hear at that time realistically that would have made you be like, let me just have a seat? Is there anything?
I'm about to say really like a week, maybe even two. Okay, I get it. I can sit. But like really, it was really the neck. Like I can't get over the neck brace. Like give me why am I in the MR? Like, and it's not the fact that I'm in the neck brace. It was the fact that I'm in the neck brace without guidance, like without purpose. We're just here because we don't know. Why is it taking 2 weeks for me not to know? You know what I'm saying? And that goes even with the concussion, right? Because even with a concussion, you get an MRI or you get scans of your brain somehow. So why are we going 2 weeks without even knowing? So like this is just here just in case, and I think that's what made me more upset. So let's say it happened the next day or maybe even 2 days. I went and got the MRI and the X-ray, and they said, "Hey, here's what's going on. I know you may feel okay, but your brain's moving, or this is tricky." Dang, I'll probably still be sad, and I probably wouldn't go right back out there because I was always like pretty intelligent. Like I'm not a crash dummy, right? But especially when it came to my brain, physically, body parts, right? Which as I grow now and as I even lead and speak to different issues regarding mental health, right? I treat the brain like an organ because it is, but then it was a separate device in my body. It wasn't the same as a broken bone or anything like that. So like back then I might have taken the week or two off, but once I felt okay, yeah, no, like yeah.
So it sounds like awareness would have
Yeah.
really helped.
Awareness definitely. Knowing what was going on besides just
So if someone would have said, this is what's happening with your brain, this is what's happening with your neck, the way that you took this hit,
Mhm.
this is why we need to keep you in this brace, explaining the length of time. I don't know what they would have explained away for that, but just giving you the knowledge of, I know you're ready to get back out there, but this is the risk, and share about SIS or second impact syndrome,
Mhm.
and share about, PPCS, persistent post concussive syndrome. So learning about all of that could have made you have taken what could have been going on with your brain more seriously versus more kamikaze. I don't believe what's happening. Just put me back on the
Well, no,
field.
I definitely believed in what was happening. It would have gave me peace as I sit out for those 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
Okay.
and I still would have been urging them to let me play.
Even
And
with the
yeah, and
knowledge.
yeah, even with the knowledge, and I mean that was just young and not young and dumb, but like just young and impassionate. Like I cannot be out because like you said earlier, like is that learned behavior or is that within you? So it's definitely within me because it's the passion that drives me, and I have teammates that are like depending on me to help them win games. Like I missed a really big game. Like there was a game like a coach scouted my position or me specifically against the offensive. Like I need you to play this game for this. I missed that game. So it's like that sense of letting people down, all those things, and then that inner passion. So like, would I have still got out there? Yes, 100%. Because I knew that. I'm not gonna say I knew the long term benefit effects, but I definitely knew the close long term effects. Like
Okay.
this can go longer. You can continue to have headaches, possible death, right? And that didn't. Yeah, that didn't. Yeah, that.
Didn't sway you.
Yeah, nah.
Okay.
You're a warrior. You're like like we gotta go to war. It's
Okay. Well, now that you are post warrior, at least on
uh
the field, um, that makes me think like, because you are someone to look up to, athletes can come to you and see your page and, learn about your story. And I find that athletes, you don't really get to hear about the non-glamorous part
mhm,
of sports. And so,
yeah.
we hear stories like Brett Favre and how he unfortunately now has this Parkinson's diagnosis. And he says things like, I don't even remember attending any of my kids' sporting events. Like, I don't know, who their teams were, or the team
Yeah.
colors or anything. And then I'll hear some athletes who say, I didn't want dementia. I didn't want to, put my brain on the line, et cetera, et cetera. So, do you think that hearing some of your athletic heroes, like some of their woes and burdens, and I wish I would have X, Y, and Z's, do you think that could have helped?
And I want to respond honestly. I know it would have, right?
Okay.
And even if it's not me personally that it would affect it, I know that awareness affects a lot of. I know friends who retired, right, very young. I know friends that retired freshman, sophomore, junior year of college. I know friends that retired first year in the NFL of a promising career because of their health, right? And I don't want to say, and I don't want to lie and say that would have been me, right? And I know that it would put fear in me. Like, so I definitely would have been more careful. So that concussion, I'm going back out. Because the in the mindset and then in the moment that I was in that life I was living, I'm going back out there. Another one, okay, I may have taken it, you know what I'm saying? And I will say this for the athletes, right? There's no number of concussions that gets you Parkinson's or dementia. Any of them can be that one. So don't have a mindset of, okay, one more and then I'm done, right? Really I want you all to take it serious. And learn from me, someone who's a warrior and wanted to go back out there, and now who still suffers from like slight headaches, right? So I don't think I have any other serious concussion protocol long term forms, and I pray I don't grow or get any as I get older. And they're all small, subtle things that honestly I don't even think about. Right, every now and then I blink hard. Right, every blue moon. Right, so it's not something I know people who do it a lot constantly, but every blue moon I'll blink hard and just have to refocus. I'm assuming those are things from concussions, right? Obviously, like I said, for myself, that's not something very constant, but it's the little stuff that you don't even think about when you're young because you can bounce back. That the older you get, the serious these things are. And the older I'm getting, the more serious you have to take the body. And I think I was blessed because I started taking my body serious a lot younger. Like I started taking my body serious in college. But to say that concussion right there in that moment, hearing any of those stories would have changed my mindset, maybe and maybe not. I just wouldn't know the answer. Maybe, maybe not. And I know seeing those people definitely it would have brought more awareness. It would have brought more care for the next time, for sure. I can guarantee that. Like it would have brought more care and awareness for the next time. But to say I would have stopped right then and there, it's a hard.
Well, I don't think it would have been a stop then and there, but I'm always looking to glean information to see
Yeah.
what could have resonated with you and your younger self. Because, I mean, it is a realistic thing to think about, when
Yeah.
I'm coming from this space of wanting to raise awareness. Because I always say, former athlete, like, I'm not trying to stop anybody. I want people
Yeah.
to have the awareness. Because, like you said, you weren't aware of certain things, like even, college visits. So making someone aware of what's going on with their brain and how this can, affect them long term. I have met young people who are like, yeah, like I did learn about that and I'm just going to go ahead and hang it up now. And this could be people who are like, I don't have a future in the NFL. I don't have a future in Major League Baseball, but I would like, my brain to be intact because they have other plans.
Yeah.
And there are also people who are like, I understand the risks and I still want to get on the field.
Yeah.
And all of that is completely fine. We all have free will, but at
Yeah.
least both parties are
No.
aware of the risks.
And it's definitely subjective because I know people who generally think sports is all they have. thankfully for me, I always knew, and it could be the reason I'm no longer playing, but I always knew sports was a tool. I knew that if I make it pro, this will give me the tool to live the life I want to live. So thankfully for me, I had the mindset, and I never because I wasn't exposed to it early on. Because just like in college, I didn't know. Just like in high school, I didn't know about college. It wasn't in college did I know about. Now I knew about the pros, but I'm at a small D2 school. I'm not thinking I can make it to the pros until my junior year of spring. In 1 week, out of nowhere, 26 out of the 32 NFL teams showed up to see me. I'm like,
To
wait,
see you,
because my time, I'm going, yeah, because nobody else at my on my team at that point was on the radar. So
what
at
an
that point,
honor.
I was going to the Air Force. I was going to be an officer. I was going to retire in 20 years, and I was going to be a school researcher. I had my life planned out. And then the NFL came. I was like, oh, okay, right. But for the people who knew that from birth or knew that from elementary, middle, or high school, that the NFL, the NBA, MLB is all I have, it will take a lot more than just, hey, if your brain gets hit hard, this may happen, right? It will take maybe even not just showing them a video of, because I watched the movie Concussion, and I remember seeing documentaries of other like things like that of how older athletes are now in their 50s and 60s. It may take meeting these people in real life, right? Because it may not even watching the videos may not even help them, right? For the people who are hell bent on like this is my life, and just I think more so less about showing them the fear of what could happen and more about showing them the possibilities of what else is there for you. And that goes from concussions and just the mental health aspect of athletes, of really more so showing. Because I think a lot of people fear bait and they try to use fear to get their point across. When in reality, like if you just tell people what else is there for them, right? And instead of telling me, oh, you could die with a concussion, why not tell me, you know, um, with your degree, you can go be an engineer, right? And obviously that's just a random thing, but like there's other things, right? So instead of fearing me into this, what else is there for me? And if I know that I can go be an engineer and still provide for my family or do the things I love or do whatever our case may be without this professional sport, it may make me think more, not that I'm afraid of the concussion, but maybe I should take care of myself more. Or like maybe I should be more aware of this concussion or how I'm feeling. So I can do those things with or without the professional sport. So I think more so exposure to like what else is possible and less of like fearing athletes is another great tactic that you can use to just kind of bring that awareness to like that.
Absolutely. Well, my goal is not to fear or to put fear in them. I mean, I think it's a tough spot to be in because this is scary information.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to find a balance on letting them know like you can have this awareness and do with it what you will, which is why I like to kind of wave a white flag. Like I come in peace. I'm a former
Yeah.
athlete. Like people hear, and I've heard from other people I've interviewed, they hear doctor and they hear concussion and they're like, oh gosh.
They're trying to
And
take it
they're
away.
already, out the door. So I want to make sure that the way that it's delivered is this is what the risk is, this is what can happen. But also I think that's why it's important for, so much interprofessional collaboration and working with you and working with Matthew, working with Vad Lee and their, organizations are doing the work of, you don't have to think that everything is over when your sport is done with
Yeah.
you
And I
and
think a lot of your
expanding.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I think a lot of your micro workshops even help more than the macro. So like showing some of the professional athletes with dementia and things like that could work. But I've been to your event last year, and a lot of the small things that you did honestly helped me a lot more than knowing I can get dementia. Cause like my
Okay.
everyday life with the small things are affected because of these micro versus the big things. So I'm sorry to cut you off, but that just
No,
popped
no,
in my
no.
head
Tell
that
me. I want to hear more because I
yeah,
like to know what works and I
yeah,
take all this stuff in seriously and
yeah.
apply it. So, what were the
So
small things that were
I can't
good?
remember the all the different activities, but I
Okay, the
remember one with
activity.
like dots or something. It was like dots, and then one was had goggles on, but just seeing how like your everyday life. So not even something grand can happen, because like the grand stuff is happens a lot rarer than you know, but the small stuff like I got to blink extra hard when the lights come on and off every day in your life.
Yeah.
That'll agitate you a lot more. So not fear, but it's like, oh man, so this is like this can affect my daily life, even if something bad doesn't happen, like a dementia or Alzheimer's. Even if that doesn't happen, I can still have a like a what'd you say, a slightly discomfort or like
Yeah.
or something.
Removing or slight discomfort, removing
Yeah,
discomfort.
like in daily life. And no people don't want that, you know. So like I think that like those small workshops helped a lot too, or like the simulations basically of the concussions, the people how they live with the concussions throughout, right? Because I'm
Mhm.
blessed that I don't have a lot of those issues, but there's a lot of people who won't get dementia or won't get Alzheimer's, but still have a discomfortable life because of the
Yeah,
small things they got to
yeah.
deal with every
Very
day.
inconvenient.
Yeah.
I really want to know, I want to get into the mental health space because, of course, concussion is directly related to that,
Mhm.
depending upon what kind of concussion you've had and the symptoms that you experience or what persists. But I am interested to hear if you were introduced to any kind of specialists. So, were speech therapists talked about, or were mental health therapists talked about with your recovery, or neurooptometrists? Because when I hear things about your eyes, it's making me think there could be something for a neurooptometrist to take a look at to possibly help with what you're still experiencing.
Yeah, and I did get LASIK, so that could be it too. But no, none of that. Once again, like it took me 2 weeks to get an MRI and an X-ray with the neck brace on after being passed out and stretched off the field. So these are all the facts that happened, and it still took me 2 weeks to get an MRI and X-ray. So none of those things.
I'm going to ask you to not put quotes around passed out since
Because
it
I
was
wasn't. I
already
rolled over.
confirmed. You said you'll just say it, you'll keep saying it, but it sounds like you were
I was good.
unconscious.
I rolled over. I said, man, why you did? I was talking and everything. Like I was talking.
Were you really talking or were you talking in your mind?
So I was talking. I remember the time it took for her to get from the sideline to me. It was about 30 something seconds because I was having a conversation. I was like, why'd you do that? But my eyes was just closed.
Was
That
the
was it.
player who did it, was he near you?
Yeah, because he was standing on me because he hit me. So he felt bad. You better feel bad.
You better
Because
feel
the
bad.
guy was already down. So the tackle was made. So you just torpedo in just to get you a assisted tackle, just to have some fun, you know? So
Wow.
and it wasn't like he was down for seconds. It was obviously like a bang bang thing. Like he was going down, he dove in there. So I know it wasn't intentional by all means. But yeah, but yeah, I remember talking to him. It was just my eyes was just closed the whole time.
Wow.
I didn't want to open them.
Huh. Well, I'm just, there's no need for a quote mark. It sounds like you were unconscious, but we're just going to move on from that.
Okay, okay,
Can
okay.
you talk to me about your journey into football beyond college?
Uh-huh.
Because you said they were coming to look at you.
Yeah, they were coming. They were ready. And I ended up having my best year. I ended up having like one of the best years statistically my junior year, and that was like I exploded. And then obviously my senior year, I had one of the best years in program history. Um, um, yeah, I got invited to the Rose Bowl and like in conference history as well. So I also got a lot of accolades for that. So my senior year was accolade heavy. So I was very dominant in Division II football. I was like ranked top 20 defensive lineman. Like
Wow.
my stats, so everything was good. Got invited to the NFL PA bowl game. Um, and that's just like a bowl game, like the Reese's Shrine Bowl and the East West game. Those are the three top bowls game. My bowl game no longer exists, but I got invited there. Coached by Hall of Fame coaches. Can't remember their names at the time, but it was a Bengals and a Browns Hall of Fame coach. Phil
Mhm.
Jackson was one of them. Not Phil Jackson. What's his name? I don't know. But
Go
Hall of Fame.
Browns. I'm from Cleveland.
You said Phil Brown.
Go Browns.
Oh,
I'm
so
from Cleveland.
well, you should know the head coach. He was a black. It was a black head coach.
Just move on,
Okay,
Chauncey.
okay. So yeah, so like that was my first time noticing like because once again exposure equals expansion. I didn't think I could play, and then so junior senior year did good. NFL teams coming, but still not really. NFL is not like college; they don't offer you, so like you don't know until you know. So I get there and I'm up there with Texas, UConn, USC, like Notre Dame. Like I'm out there with all these guys, right? And it took me a day or two to realize, but then I realized I belong. So within a week, all the head coaches which in the position coaches, which I said most of them are all Hall of Fame coaches, voted me team captain. So I was team captain within a week. And then I was the spotlight player of the game. Didn't have my best game though, but because of the week of practice I've had, right, and being the standout player throughout the week of practice, which the practice matters more than the game in situations like that, because they really get these NFL coaches really get to see you, move around every day versus just the game. So did really good there, and then came home training for my pro day. March 11th was the day of my pro day, and at my pro day was at 4:25. At 12 p.m. noon, the world shut down. March 11th during COVID.
Tell listeners what pro day is,
So
please.
the pro day is like a combine or a workout that college athletes do before the combine. So you got the NFL combine, which only 220 people get invited to that, and there's like 350 draft picks. So if you don't get invited to the combine, not the end of the world, but it's usually like the top prospects in the world or America or the world, right? So they get invited there. But a pro day is individualistic, and that's for each individual school or a collective of schools. Because like for me, Division 2, I'm the only player that had a pro day. So my school's not going to have one, but a local school, Furman, partnered with another local school, Wofford, and all together we collectively had about 15 to 20 people. You know what I'm saying? Do the pro day, which is like I said, combine. But yeah, so I was speaking specifically to the Chargers, right? Source and me and him were having a conversation at least once or twice a week. He was excited. We were going to have lunch after the pro day. We were going to talk a little bit more about it. He was going to get to know me. We set up my 360 visit, and
What's
all
a
that.
360 visit?
So that's when the team flies you out, or 30 visit. Is it 30 or 3? I can't remember. So that's when the team flies you out to their facilities, and then you have just a bunch of meetings with the coaches and walk around the facilities. You may or may not work out depending on how they want to do that. But yeah, it's just like that means the team's really interested in you, right? And you want to do that. Um, so I had all that set up, and then at 12, he was at Clemson for their 9 a.m. pro day, and at 12, so the world didn't shut down just yet, but NFL shut down at 12. They called all those scouts off the road. So we were expected to have like 20 plus scouts there, and I think because most of them were already local, because Clemson's like 45 minutes away, we ended up having like six come through anyway and putting on our pro day. So grateful for that, right? That we had six. And unfortunately for me, it was six teams that had no interest in me in general. So we had the pro day, went on, continued to train. The draft comes, no call. Got a couple calls, like we're gonna pick you up. Never went through. So that whole first year of COVID, um, I was at home, Ubering, doing everything, training and still.
Where
Um,
was home?
Columbia, South Carolina. So I
Okay.
went back home to mom's.
You had graduated, right?
Yeah, graduated. So graduated in COVID. Um, that was rough too, because it was just no one knew. Like kids nowadays, e-learning, like they cancel school for anything because they have the infrastructure for e-learning. But at that time, e-learning wasn't popular, so it was, or it wasn't like no one really had the infrastructure for it. So there was a lot of leeway though. I was gonna graduate anyway, so college I took care of business, but I was gonna graduate anyway. But yeah, like March 11th, NFL shut down. March 15th, that Tuesday, the world shut down, and they kicked us off of campus. So you got to go home. So from Tuesday to Friday, you had to figure out what you was doing. I think I stayed a couple extra days, um, but I was finished training and everything, so I went on home. But yeah, draft
Packed
day
up your
came.
room.
Yeah, packed up the room, everything. Draft day came, which this year was on my birthday. Um,
Happy belated birthday.
Great way to, well, no, not this year, that year. So
Oh
2020, the draft,
no.
it
I
was
thought
on
you
my
were talking about
birthday.
this year. Oh,
No. So it was on my birthday that year. My mom wanted to throw a big party and everything. We actually had a party planned. And then as I got closer, I was like, I'm not a party person anyway. I was like, nah, I don't want nobody to really come. You know what I'm saying? Because like it was for my birthday, but like I had got a lot of hype around this time with the NFL. And I just didn't want, because I knew I was going to get drafted like first day or second day. Like we knew that. If anything, it was going to be sixth, seventh round or undrafted free agent, which for that, that's like after the con at jeez after the draft ends, that's really where the excitement starts because you have the draft's only 300 players, right? After that, you still have at least 500 to 600 players, maybe not that many, at least 200 to 500 players that have no team that NFL teams still want. So this is where they sign undrafted free agents. So they're free agents, but it's the same year of their draft year. So this is where teams are calling. Because now you can pick whoever you want. There's no order you gotta wait. You just whoever calls first, right? So at the time the seventh round comes, the Jets call, and they're like, "Hey, uh, we're out of picks. But we're gonna, once this is over, because they can't technically sign you until the draft is over. But once this thing is over, we're calling you. So it was the Jets and the Cardinals. They both called. I talked to the Chargers that day, and then they didn't really hear from them again. But Jets and the Cardinals mainly called. We're gonna sign you afterwards, and then after the draft, they said it got all the way up to the head, not the head coach, but the GM. They wanted to go with another position. So it wasn't necessarily anything I did wrong, but it's a numbers game. Didn't get a call from them. So after that, there was no more calls, right? Because the NFL still shut down, so there's no workouts. I was considered a project guy, so meaning once again, same thing like high school. He's raw. He has a lot of potential, but he's raw, and we want to see him in person. We want to see what what he looks like, what he feels like, how he moves in person, not just on film. And because the NFL shut down, I didn't have the opportunity. And because I was a project guy, they didn't want to just blindly sign me, right? Because the only way I could go there is if they signed me. They didn't want to blindly sign me if they didn't know. So that just held me out of the league for that first year. And then,
But that also meant they couldn't invite you, like they couldn't fly you in to do the looking at
yeah,
you and all that.
unsigned, yeah. So unsigned, they couldn't do anything. If they signed me, they can fly me in, but unsigned, they couldn't do any of that. Correct. So
Wow.
Let's be honest, writing soap notes can be time consuming and exhausting. But with Freed AI Scribe, documentation just got a whole lot easier. Here's how it works. Freed AI uses artificial intelligence to record your sessions and instantly generate accurate professional soap notes. That means more time to focus on your clients and less time stuck doing paperwork. Freed AI is HIPAA compliant, which made it easy to incorporate into my private practice. And it has been a game changer. It saves me time, reduces stress, and best of all, helped me finally get out of the office at a decent hour. If you're ready to simplify your documentation, use my code Dr. Kelli50 for $50 off your first month's subscription. And join me and other SLPs who've made the switch to simplify your soap notes. The link and discount code are in the show notes. Now, back to the episode.
because everything was shut down, so no, not just me, nobody could do anything. So
You
then
were
once,
really in limbo.
exactly. So once the season came around and the fall camp came around, obviously they played that year, right? It's a money machine. So they played that year, but there were so many rules and stipulations with how many people that can come throughout the week. Like there was like you only could get 3 visits a week from like, like free agents or whatever. So with that being said, I'm still a project guy. What they ended up doing that 2020 year was go back and pick up a whole bunch of guys that were sitting on the couch, right? So not necessarily retired, but guys that's been in the league already that no longer have a job, right? But because we know they know how to operate in the league and we have film on them in the league and we know they know what they're doing here, they went to go pick up a lot of those guys. So it was a
It's
lot
like
of,
that movie with the replacements with
yeah,
Keanu Reeves.
yeah, honestly. So it was a lot of talented kids, and I'm not here to say I was the best and I should have been there, but there was me and so many other like talented athletes that just didn't get the chance. Because any other year, a team could bring in anywhere from like I think 15 to 25 athletes a week to work out. So that's just to work out. So we can fly you in, they pay for the flight, give you $300 stipend, you work out. If we like it, we sign. You don't, you go home. But they can do that like 20, I think 15 to 20 every week. So
So
like
when you say work you out, you're literally in the gym pumping iron.
So not usually it's not the gym. It's usually on the field. So like in the
Okay.
NFL, college we care about the weight room. NFL, how do you play? Can you move on the field? Can you get to this point? Can you get that point? So when I say workout, even with the combine, like in the combine, you do like weight room stuff. Like you do your bench, you do your broad jumps, you do verticals, all that stuff. But like when it comes to working out, we're doing 40-yard dash, pro shuttle, and then position drills. So whatever your position is, that's what we do. If you're a receiver, you're running routes, catching balls. You're a linebacker, you're dropping in coverage. You're a D lineman, you're running them through the bags. So like that's what that means by working out. How can you move on the field, right? So any given year, like this year, for example, you go undrafted, you get signed undrafted free agent, or they invite you up for a workout. They like you, they don't like you, you go home. You go home, another team calls you for a workout, and they're like, that's just a cycle. So you have endless, not endless opportunity, but as long as someone wants you, they can at it. They don't have anything withholding them from bringing you here. So they can call you up, work you out. They like you, don't like you. COVID year, couldn't do that. We only got three from 20. We only got three. So we got to be real careful. And once again, like they're not just working you out just to work you out. They're working you out to see who they can put on their team. So
Right.
with only three, let's pick the best options we have. And in their eyes, their best options are guys who's already done it before. So that's where it
So
left me out for that whole year. So first 3 years of my life was limbo, really. But after the first year, thankfully there was a league called the Spring League. Um, you're gonna love this. This is where my second concussion happened. You're gonna love this.
oh my
AKA you're gonna
gosh. Well,
hate
I
this.
don't love when people get concussions. I'll
Yeah,
love if you
no.
had
You're
phenomenal
actually gonna hate me.
treatment.
That was very sarcastic. So I built a great brotherhood here, but we go down to Houston, and this is where I lived in Houston for about 5 to 6 months. And we're playing, right? Just let me finish before you ridicule me. So we go down there, we're unpaid. So we're not getting paid any. They pay for our hotel room and then our stay. Then we get like food stipend.
How
Not
do
a
they
lot.
find you?
So there's like data. There's not like databases, but like I'm still on the NFL's radar, right? So the coaches in the spring league are guys that are either old scouts from the NFL or old coaches. Thankfully for me, I was head coached by Ted Cottrell. He was like the founder of the 3-4 defense. So that's a specific defensive package. So he's like a legendary coach, but from the 80s and 90s. But he's still a legendary coach who was able to teach me. So he drafted me. He liked me. He found me. And ironically, I got that call one night. I was Ubering at USC like 11 o'clock at night. He was in like West Coast. So it was like 6 o'clock. He called me and I was like, hello. I said, hey. He said, yeah, it's Ted Cottrell. This Chauncy? I said, yeah. He said, so you coming to what? I'm like, coming where? He said, to the Spring League. We down in Houston. We leave like next week. Huh? So apparently, I guess he reached out to my agent or something at this point. I don't even know how that happened, but I never knew anything about this. But I said, yeah. I didn't even know what it was. I went home, did some research, and so it's a spring league. It was 8 teams. You had 4 teams in Houston, 4 teams in Indianapolis, and you got to play on Fox. So national TV. So you get to be noticed in the spring. So there's no other football here. So scouts have this opportunity to see you. So as a kid who didn't have the opportunity, and all the scouts kept talking about is they want to see more of me play with better competition, this is my opportunity. Unpaid in a college, I mean, in a hotel room, nice hotel, and we get this food stipend. Nutrition's bad because we're all eating DoorDash, right? Because that's all you get. You get like $50 a day. Make that
So there
last.
is some payment,
Yeah.
stipends.
Oh, yeah. So there is some payment, and they pay for our hotel room. So we lost nothing, but there was no like actual paycheck or anything like that. It was a stipend through the app at that. So it's not even like anything
Shelter and
to
food
us. Shelter and food, yes, and national televised
coverage.
games, national coverage. So I go there, play good, do real good. It's only I think it was a 6 game season, so real good. Um, because we aren't getting paid, because we aren't employees, don't have insurance. So play the whole season for free, no insurance. So we're getting in car wrecks 100 times a day for 2 3 months, no insurance.
Listeners, you should see my face right now. Okay, keep
And
going.
this is the ringer. I went through healthy. I think I ended up getting COVID throughout this one, but I was okay. Um, this COVID was like a day, and I was back at it. I was good as far as the pain. I don't even think they were doing COVID tests. No, I think they were doing COVID tests. I don't remember. Yeah, they were doing COVID tests. Very lenient. But we get to the last game, right? I played good, whatever case, but I get to the last game. This is for you for concussion talk. I have this play as well, so I'm on kickoff, running down the field. Chicka, 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 chicka. All right, the guy runs
Wait, that's
past
the
us.
running down the field sound. Jigga jigga jigga.
So the guy runs past to the right. So me, I'm an all out player. So I'm sprinting down the sideline. So now I'm on our sideline. I'm sprinting. No, I'm on their sideline. I'm sprinting, chasing him down from the behind. Right, not really looking at my peripheral or anything like this. And this was a dirty play. And I'll send you this video too. The guy comes full speed from in front of me, so I'm running like straight. He comes looking this way. He comes full speed from in front of me, drops his shoulder, and completely lifts me off the ground. So now I'm just in the air in flight. It just knocks me. So when you see the video, my
Oh,
head's literally like in slow mo, like looks disconnected from the body. You're gonna hate me. Gonna hate me. I get up, I chip my tooth, right? My teammate came over and fought the dude for me. That's my dog. His name's Ray. That's my dog. Because it was a dirty play. It
way
was
to
dirt.
go, Ray.
All by all means, he that we locked in for that. I get up, not woozy or dizzy or anything. Like I get up, jolly actually, very funny. Like I ate the hit. Like a football player sometimes was like, "Oh, I ate that. I ate that. I ate that." Like it didn't hurt. So I get up, jolly. I walk to my sideline because kickoff. So you know, I'm going to my sideline. La 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 la. I'm laughing. Yeah, man, they chipped my tooth, whatever. They was like, "I want to go back in." It was like, "Nah." They sit me down for one play, and I go back in the next play. Now, when you see this hit, I would show you now, but for the sake of time, I'm not. But I'm gonna send it to you once we're done. When you see this hit, you on it, like I'm gonna get serious, but you'd be very, very highly disappointed in me. And I'm honestly disappointed in myself. One, because there's no insurance. Why are you going back out there again? Right. Two, the hit of this play, there's no doubt there was a concussion. And now you're gonna get even more mad at me. This is the last game. My flight's at 5 o'clock in the next morning. I also hurt my hand this game, so I think I almost fractured my thumb or whatever, or like sprained my thumb or whatever. I'm sitting in the ice bucket after the game. My friends come in. We're in Houston. I'm 21. I'm like, no, I'm like, yeah, I'm like 21, 22. We're in Houston. They're like, bro, there's no way we about to get on our flight and you gonna sit in here. So we go out, we go drinking. And like I didn't even
No.
get home to like I literally got home like to pack my bag and get in the Uber to go get on my flight. So like from but there's no doubt in my mind there was a concussion and a chipped tooth. I go home, I'll go back in the game one. Then I go home, sit down for a little bit, and then go out, get drunk, then get on a flight. So now you have this altitude. And then I go home. But after that, I actually didn't feel nothing. I didn't do well, I'm not gonna say I didn't feel nothing. I wasn't aware of any feelings or anything. Am I getting tested though? No. So I mean after that I just go on about my day. Go on about my life. And yeah, back to the professional part. Go another year of limbo, just Ubering, and then I'm not gonna allow you to pause there. So go another year of limbo.
I'm stunned, listeners. I am stunned. Okay. Oh my gosh. Concussion, second concussion, chipped tooth, went back in the game, then went out, not even just for a sip. You said you got drunk.
Well, no,
And
I don't think
then,
I ain't get like drunk, but my drink of choice was Long Island, so at the same
oh,
time
you
it was.
got drunk. Okay. To a normal sized person.
But yeah, I'm 6'6", 260, so like I could drink two Long
Exactly.
Islands and be okay, and that's probably what I did. Like I don't because at that age I no longer got like just drunk,
Well,
but I
listeners,
definitely
I
got
will just
silly.
tell you that alcohol post concussion, not a great idea. I don't recommend.
Shouldn't be an idea at all, actually, bad or good.
And then you got on a flight. And for those of you who aren't unaware, flights can exacerbate your symptoms.
High altitude,
Mm-hmm. All right,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. But I mean that was really it. Like I honestly couldn't tell you like the aftermath of that because after that, like I'm on a phone and I'm not gonna go too hard on this, but the Jets called again, man. This is the second time the Jets called me.
Was it
Um,
because of what they saw with the spring league and
yeah,
being on Fox?
yeah.
Okay.
So they called again, and they this time it was like, hey, yeah, we getting your blight. So like, we're sending you over to I don't know what they're called, but for sake of lack of words, our secretary or whatever, she's getting your flight information, all these things, everything in order, so we can get you up here next week. 2 days later, one of their offensive line coaches, and this is I selfishly and no unselfishly like I definitely did what's what I'm looking for like felt bad for lack of better words, but 2 days later their offensive coordinator lives in LA and he was driving his bike and he got hit by a car and died. So definitely a sad moment, but with that they shut the organization kind of down for a couple days, so that stopped my workout. By the time they picked the workout back up they moved on. Like that's how fast NFL works.
Wow, not for long
Yeah,
indeed.
so that like that might have happened on a Wednesday. My flight was like that Thursday morning. I called all day, no response, and then I finally got a text after the flight would have went, And I was like, yeah, this has just happened. Just give us a moment. We'll get you up here a little bit later. Because obviously they're in mourning, so I get it, 100%. And selfishly, like I'm the main character in my life, just as everybody else is. So it's like, dang, that there was another opportunity. Um, so who knows what the concussion did to like my mental health on top of more rejection, right? Um, yeah, it was a dark time, and my dark times aren't as dark as others. Comparison thief for joy, right? But it's also you know subjective and objective. I didn't go out to like any I didn't resort to any substances or anything. I did buy a nice pack of beer and I was drinking on that for a little bit, but it wasn't like I didn't finish a full pack in a day or nothing like that. So I didn't go like straight substance, but it was like just a dark time. It was like another year of rejection. Um, yeah, and then later that year, they formed a new league called the USFL, and it was the first year. And I think they had that league back in like the '80s or '90s. And then but by this point, life there was a lot of life changes. I moved to Charlotte. So after Houston, went back to Columbia, moved to Charlotte, and then came back. Yeah, I was in Charlotte, so a lot of life changes on that time. But ended up get drafted in the USFL, played the inaugural season, finished it, won the championship, and then that was like 2022. Came home. This is when I got certified in yoga instruction, doing a lot of things like that. I had an affair on football, writing a book about that. But had an
You had
affair.
did you say an affair on football?
Yes, hold on. Turn the light on too. It's getting dark. I didn't even notice that. So I had an affair on football. This is when I got my yoga certification. Went back to that next season. Um, went to camp, got cut like the third week of camp, and then technically that was my last moments playing ball. After
And that
that,
was in the
23.
new or revamped league.
That was a new
Okay.
revamp league, and then jumped straight into teaching yoga because at the time I was like, oh, I was prepared for this. I don't, you know what I'm saying? This was a tool always, so I'm prepared for this. So then I do that for
Prepared for what?
life after.
Okay.
Yeah, I was I was prepared for that. And then for about 7 months, and then I didn't like how it ended. So then I went back and I started training again, and I just asked for one more opportunity because it was my fault because of my affair, meaning I didn't put my all, just like a relationship. I'm writing a book about this because so I didn't put my all into the relationship, so it started to break. So when I went back for training camp, I got cut. Nobody's fault but my own. Once again, I don't like blaming anybody else because you can take accountability. So because of that, because it was my fault, I decided I was like, no, I just need one more chance. Like I can't go out and end my career because of me, right? Because there's a lot of politics that go into the game. You can get cut because of numbers, not necessarily because you're good. Because I know to this day I can still play, but it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I know that I gave my all, and it wasn't my fault, right? So I worked really hard, and I ended up getting a shot with the CFL. I got a workout. Um,
Will you tell listeners what the CFL is?
the Canadian Football League. So, fun fact: the CFL has been around longer than the NFL, but obviously the NFL is a lot bigger. But so I got to work out with the CFL. The workout itself was very BS, for lack of better words. It was they didn't it wasn't necessarily geared towards me. They put me in a lot of bad positions, and I still overcame a lot of those positions. Um, yeah, didn't work out. And then that's when I was like, okay, I'm done. That was 23. No, that was 24. Was that top of last year? Time kind of. Once you get above
Time,
25, it's
right? Okay, so I want to get into the candid questionnaire,
okay.
but for those of you listening, I'm also going to ask for us to have a chat afterwards, and this could be on the Patreon. But I'm just interested in your lack of belief, non-belief, in belief, disbelief, whatever you want to call it, of trauma. And I just want to have a conversation about that. So we can do that after the candid questionnaire, and people can tune into Patreon or wherever this will be available if they so choose. But if you're down with that, I would love to have
Yeah,
that chat.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, so we're gonna do the candid questionnaire. 5 questions. Here we go.
Now, are my answers supposed to be quick? Like, or is this like a
No,
rapid fire thing? Oh no, okay.
no, it's not rapid. It's
Oh,
candy.
okay.
Okay, you can take your time. There won't be any
Okay.
music or a timer
Okay.
up, right? Okay, the first question is, what's one word your friends would use to describe you? Now there might be some music.
um, because I have so many different friends. It's just like different categories of friend, right? Some would say weird, some would say like joyous, some would say like inspirational. I'm leaving it at that. Or some of
Okay,
those
I
things.
like that. Joyous, inspirational, slid a weird in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I never like to say weird. I like to say
You
different.
yeah, or unique, right? That's what I would say. But just I'm taking their words, right? I'm
You're
taking their
right.
words. Yeah,
You're right.
I would say unique, but I'll let them say how they feel.
Uniquely joyous.
Hmm.
Okay, number two. If you could instantly master any sport or physical skill, what would it be and why?
Baseball, and
Ooh,
simply because they make the most money. Make the most money. I
he is
played
a
football.
thinking man.
Football's not like foot like yeah. Baseball's you can get injuries, but
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lot less non-contact injuries with baseball. So as long as you're taking care of your joints, you're mobile, you should have a pretty good. So if I can master that, meaning I'd be the best, baseball. Make the most
All
money.
right. Now,
Definitely.
catchers do have the highest risk when it comes to
Concussions.
concussions.
Hmm.
And
I'd be an
you
outfitter.
were there at Brain Talk Day, not trying to scare, but Ryan Friel unfortunately died by suicide, and he was confirmed to have stage 2 of CTE. And
Hmm.
that came from him taking a elbow to the head one play.
Yeah.
But we're going to say that your baseball
Well,
career
no
would be
sports.
free of concussion.
Thankfully,
All
unlike
sports,
the
there's
football
a
career.
risk. You just need to know the
Yeah.
level of risk. Obviously, football and boxing are going to be a higher risk than tennis and baseball, but
Yeah.
having that information can be helpful,
Yeah.
not to scare. Okay. Number three, what's one activity or hobby you find most relaxing or beneficial for your brain?
Most relaxing. I don't know. I kind of don't like relaxing. Um,
Who says
um,
that?
cause I like doing, cause like the first thing that popped in my head was like what I'm doing now is like directing or like creating, like bringing people's visions to life. So like my hobby was like directing and like storytelling, but that's not always like relaxing because I'm like thinking. Well, it is. I think it's relaxing. I think it's stimulating.
Okay, but
So
what's
it's
one thing that you would do to like zen out and
and
just
I
be
don't.
like, I'm good.
Oh, all right. Well, give me a hammock. Give me a nice hammock and on a sunny day.
Okay.
And I could be doing anything. Hopefully nothing. Maybe reading, but we don't gotta read. Just give me a nice hammock. I'm sorry. There we go. That's the answer.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say this real quick and then we'll get to these last questions. You and your friend Matthew have shocked me because I was expecting both of you to say yoga.
Oh, well, I mean, but that's not really like ooh and because yoga's not just. I've learned the balance of all the different variations of yoga. It's not always just a yin flow, and that's like slow, and that could be relaxing. But you said if any given day, what I'm doing to me on the mat, I love the practice, but I'd rather be doing nothing. Like that's the
Okay.
best. That's
All
just the
right.
best. Yoga's
Okay.
close second.
Well, okay, close second, but also I have to consider both of you are actually doing work. Like you have
Yeah,
to
in work in yoga.
teach and, okay, yes. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All
Which is a
right.
practice in and of itself. Like you, as a teacher, you have to be able to practice yoga to prepare for class. But the biggest practice for yoga teachers is to be able to practice as a practice, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yes.
Without the mindset of like, okay, maybe I can transition to this, flow to that. Like, no, like be able to let yoga do because yoga's medicine. So like being able to let yoga do the medicine for you and not just how you can do yoga to medicine other people. So
Yeah.
and that's a big practice for his teachers. So that may be why Matthew, I know that's probably why I don't, because I still think with a teacher brain, but that may be why Matthew also said that as well, just so like, because we're so new into it, it's like we always want to figure out how we can get better at teaching it. So it's hard to kind of get back into our practice.
Understood. Understood. Well, I'm unshocked then. That makes more sense. I asked Matthew this. Do you how is your flexibility? Do you use the blocks?
Yeah, so I use the blocks no matter the flexibility because blocks aren't just for non-flexible or flexible. And every day you show up on your mat, it's completely different. There is no same, right? So there are some days I don't need a block at all. There's some days I need the block, and there's some days I just want to invite the block in to create more space in the body to see what kind of shape or how I feel in this moment. Because every day is different on the mat.
He is not new to this. He do this. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Because here I am thinking, like, oh, if you can't get into this position, like, use the block so that you don't hurt yourself. But there's
Oh,
way more to it. You can use it regardless. Okay,
yeah,
see,
yeah,
you if you're listening and you're in Charlotte or you're traveling through, you need to come to one of his classes
yeah,
and learn something. This is
yeah.
really good information. See, you're teaching
Without
me something.
without shame or judgment. That's the practice. That's how the practice can be.
Heavy on the no shame. I
Yeah.
will. I that then I will come to the classes. Heavy on the no shame. Okay, number 4. What's the weirdest or most unexpected item in your bag or car right now?
Bag. I don't use bags currently. Weirdest in my car? I got two ducks on the I got a Jeep though. So I got like two little not real ducks. Oh like
Okay,
little
let's get
two
some clarity on that. All
yeah.
right.
I got two like ducks on my dashboard. Weird.
So it's a Jeep Wrangler?
No, it's not a Jeep Wrangler, so that makes it weird because
Okay,
people
that
don't
does
duck
make
their
it weird.
Grand Cherokee. They only
Is
duck
it
their Wranglers.
Grand
So
Did you get the ducks? Those are for Wranglers.
well, I got them because I was drinking a drink and it came with a duck in it. Like, I went to a Mexican restaurant and it had ducks in it. So I was like,
Oh, you get to keep the ducks.
I mean, I took the ducks. I don't know. I mean, like little small little ducks. So it's like is mm.
Okay,
You put it
that's
in my
cute.
first of all, it's unsanitary, and you put it in my drink because they Lord knows where them ducks been. So yeah, I'm keeping this duck.
Very true. And now it's your duck.
It's my
Okay.
duck.
I
Yes.
mean, it doesn't sound like this is a standard size glass if a duck is coming in. So
It was a gallon.
this
It
was
was
a gallon.
a gallon and a half a gallon, something like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what was the beverage?
I don't know. I think a margarita or something.
Okay. All
Yeah, something.
right.
Not a Long Island. Not a gallon Long Island. No.
Please no. Oh my gosh, no. Not a gallon Long Island. Okay, I know you're sending me the videos of your plays and the
Uh-huh.
injuries. I'm also going to need an image of these ducks. Okay?
Okay, I got you.
Okay. Last question. What's your go-to guilty pleasure TV show, movie, or song?
TV show, movie, or song. All right, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can you explain like guilty pleasure? What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Like something that you might, and it doesn't always have to be a might, but something that you might be a little embarrassed that you do. And you're like, I don't really care. I like it. It brings me joy. Some people, like a lot of people will do like
Okay.
reality TV.
Yeah, reality. I'm not really ashamed of that. Like, I feel like now, especially with Love Island, I feel like if you're not watching it, so like, you are unique. But no,
Oh no, I'm unique. Am I a loser? I don't watch it.
I'm just playing. And that's actually very good for you because
I
like
keep hearing about it.
it's very addictive. Cause like it's like people care about stories. Like the origin of life is stories. So once you start to learn people's story, and like the way they do it, it releases every episode, like every day, a new episode every day. So it's like you don't have to wait a week to get their story to be uninterested. So now it's like you talking to your friends on the phone every day, and they just keep bringing new drama. So it's very addictive.
Well,
Great job marketing, bad job humanity. Um,
well, I guess my uniqueness is, I guess, occupational collateral, whatever you'd like to call it. But like for me to be a speech therapist and I'm downloading people's, their trauma, their injuries, if someone's had a stroke, if they have dementia, like I'm constantly
yeah,
downloading people's stories and their crises. And so I can only handle like a little bit of reality TV
yeah,
because you're constantly downloading anyway from real people's lives and you just
exactly.
never know what you're going to get. I can open up a session and, be ready and peppy and, hey, let's get started. And my client is in tears. It's like, okay, now I got to download what's happening. Who died?
Got to come down a little bit.
Right. Like what happened? So I don't indulge in too much of the reality. So Love Island is unfortunately not appealing, only because I'm constantly in people's business. And people get comfy and they share things that I don't necessarily need to know, but
I feel you.
it can be a lot. So is it Love Island? But you said that's not guilty.
No, I mean, cause you said you might be embarrassed, like
Maybe like that's what
maybe.
the original essence of
Some I
guilty
guess like you
pleasure
said
is.
music too, so like I
Yeah.
guess you could say like some like the 70s rock or like the pop, because like in the 70s it wasn't like hardcore rock, it was like love people. People was loving people in the 70s.
Yeah.
So like yeah, like I can't think of any of their names at the moment, but like yeah, just like the 70s like rock, pop, jazz ish. Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
Not necessarily embarrassed by it. I'm a yogi, so like a lot of people probably would expect that, honestly. Like, but yeah, I guess I don't know. You said movies, TV, or
Or
music.
song.
Yeah, I think that's it. Because I watch
Okay.
every genre of movie, literally
Ooh,
every
even
genre.
horror?
Yeah, I actually like horror. Well, horror
Oh.
doesn't scare me. Not since like the real people days, like Jeepers Creepers, Halloween, like Freddy versus Jay. Like paranormal activities don't scare me at all.
See? And this is why we're about to have this conversation about trauma. Okay, we're going to cut it here. Listeners, thank you so much for hanging in there with us. This was such a great episode. You dropped so many gems. I think this is going to help a lot of parents. This is going to help a lot of athletes, coaches, because you really gave some really good insight as to what the athlete is experiencing at so many different stages, from what it's like when you're experiencing a concussion and wanting to get back out there, and that identity piece when you're leaving it, and being able to just transform and flow into these different spaces of your life. And I'm just honored that you were kind enough to make time for this conversation. So thank you so much.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you for the opportunity. Love to talk, obviously.
Well, you're good at it, which is great for your next profession
Oh
as you
yeah.
enter into your master's program. But ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you give Chauncy a follow. Check him out if you are into yoga or interested in getting into yoga. He already said no judgment, safe space. So you will, we will have those ways to get in contact with him in the show notes. So I will conclude it here. Thank you so much again, Chauncy.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Kandid Konversations with Dr. Kelli. I appreciate you being part of this journey and these powerful conversations around brain health and beyond. If you're loving the podcast and want even more bonus episodes, exclusive Q&As, stories from my professional and personal life, behind the scenes moments, and yes, those bloopers you all love, then I invite you to join my Patreon family, where we always keep it candid. Your membership gives you access to all that bonus content and helps keep this podcast going strong. Plus, every contribution helps support our mission to raise awareness, educate, and empower others about the silent struggles so many face. So head on over to patreon.com/Dr. Kelli to join today. I'd love to have you. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and as always, keep it candid.